Hi guys, it's Dan here, and today we're going to do the third video in the series looking at the Pousser Lilo Hydroponic indoor garden. You can see it down here on the to the side of me. We're going to talk about how the plants are progressing. We're going to talk about anything that we've found during the kind of the last 4 weeks, and we're going to talk about what are the next steps that we're going to take place. Right, okay, so let's get into it. So as you can see, all of the plants are now growing. They seem to be growing pretty well. On the last video, if you remember, the chives had kind of popped up a couple of inches. The mint was very, very small, and the basil we'd only just planted. So in the last 2 weeks, you can see they've all really come up really quite well. The chive is kind of going a bit crazy now, and you've got everything coming out of the 3 holes, with the centre hole doing really well. You've got the mint, which is popped up pretty high. It didn't seem to be doing that good, literally up until the last week, and it's really come on leaps and bounds in the last week. As you can see, this kind of plant on the end here has really kind of started to do really well. And the basil, which has only been in for 2 weeks, is doing just as well as the mint. I mean, I don't know if anyone's planted basil before. I have, not amazingly successfully, but this looks to be exactly as I was expecting kind of basil to be after a couple of weeks. So that's really, really good. Now, one of the bad things I've noticed, or not necessarily a bad thing, but just something to be aware of, and I think I did touch about this on the last video, is that these 2 pods here, so the chive and the mint, the 2 pods which have been in the longest, have developed like a mouldy film on the top of the pod. It doesn't seem to be affecting the plants at all. It doesn't seem to be causing them any bother or anything like that. But it's just a little bit strange. I assume it's because it's a damp environment, and the pods are obviously damp all the time because it's a hydroponic system. So the mould is just forming on the top of the pods themselves. It's also going into the kind of the back of the pods and onto the plastic outer segments of them, which it's a little bit disconcerting. I'm probably going to go ahead and clean up the mould after this video to see if that kind of makes things just look a little bit more presentable. Like I said, I don't think it's affecting the plants at all, but it's just something I'd want to try and get rid of. And that mould is only happening on the 2 older plants. The basil, there's no sign of it yet. From what I can see, it doesn't seem to be doing the same as the other 2 pods. Whether that's because it's a different style of pod with different seeds, or whether it's just because it's not had enough time to develop any of this kind of top mould on it yet, is something we'll have to wait and see. Now, there's nothing on the app or in any of the documentation from Pret Pousser about possibly getting a little bit of mould or a little bit of extra growth on it. So I don't know. It's not like we've been forewarned and we know that that's going to happen. But I'm sure it doesn't affect the plants. It's just something to be aware of if you do go ahead and kind of buy this system for yourself, or one of the other systems that Pret Pousser make, or I guess any other hydroponic system. Is just something to be aware of, that you might get some kind of extra growth on it that you might want to clean up and get rid of it. Now, the app, just going on to the app, it seems to be doing a pretty good job about telling us what to do and when to do it. We planted the basil 2 weeks ago upon instruction from the app. I guess it sent us a push notification through saying now's the time you've got to go and plant your basil. So we went ahead and planted it, and as you can see, it's at pretty much the same height as the mint, which is the idea of planting them at the same time. So when you've got your light on, you need your light to be roughly kind of 10 centimetres or so above your greens to be able to give them the best light, and they're about the same height, which is exactly what it should be doing. So I mean, the fact that I got a push notification, and the fact that the app is telling you when to plant things and when to do certain things associated with the plants is really, really handy for a beginner gardener. Now, we have had a few problems with the chives. As you can see, they are a lot taller than the mint and the basil, so we need to have the light quite high up, because otherwise the chives will touch it and it'll burn the end of the chives, which obviously we don't want. So I've been experimenting with angling the light on a little bit of a cantilever to see if that makes any difference, but I don't think it makes a massive amount of difference. But the fact that you can do these kind of micro adjustments on the lamp is really, really good. It's the only system out there which I think you can really put these small adjustments into the lamp onto it, which works out really well. But we'll see. I assume when these will catch up with the chives eventually. I'm hoping in the next kind of 1 to 2 weeks, and when that happens, obviously the lamp will just be able to go wherever it needs to go, which will be perfect. So the next step in the process of the Lilo is going to be actually harvesting the plants themselves. So I had a look at the app earlier, and it says we should be harvesting the leaves and harvesting the various herbs at 40 days. So these two have been in for 28 days now, so just under a month. Or this guy's just been in for 2 weeks, 14 days. So we're going to be harvesting these two in a week and a half, and this one a week further after. And hopefully we're going to be able to get some tasty herbs out of them. We're going to get a little bit of mint, a little bit of basil. I mean, they smell exactly as you would expect them to smell. I was wondering if they were going to have like a bit of a fusty smell. Obviously we're not doing anything with them, but it's just soil sat in water basically, and I'd wondered if it'd kind of have an effect on the plants, but no, they seem to be doing really well. The plants seem to really enjoy being in there, considering we've had to do no actual work to them at all. I've not watered them once, I've not tended them once. You plug the light in and it goes around on the cycle, as we discussed in the other 2 videos, and they seem to just be doing a really good job. So let's see for now. I'm going to sign off with this video, and I'll catch up with you in another couple of weeks when hopefully we're going to be harvesting some chives and some mint. Great, thanks very much. See you then. Bye bye.